Good evening and welcome, everyone. My name is Patricia Wagner, the founder of the Living in Heart Center Gratitude Facebook group. And tonight is member introductions featuring Reverend Lee Chapin as our featured member. Welcome, Reverend Lee.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be with you tonight. And I just, as I commented, your stunning yard is just like mesmerizing here.
Thank you so much. And I commented to you about the rays coming off the light up above you. I think I always attribute, light is my thing. It's like, oh, I always could attribute that to spirit. So we can just enjoy each other's views of
That's
our pictures.
right.
I want to formally introduce Reverend Lee Chapin. Lee has a master's degree in counselor education and a Bachelor of Science in psychology with over 40 years combined experience as a psychotherapist, spiritual counselor, teacher, motivational speaker, author, licensed massage therapist, healing energy practitioner, and an associate pastor. Reverend Lee is the owner of Celestial Connections, offering spiritual counseling, spiritual healing, intuitive guidance, and channeled messages from the Ascended Masters and the angelic realm. Her non-denominational ministry focuses on uplifting all those in spiritual need, regardless of faith. Her traveling ministry includes teaching and counseling those in the United States and around the globe. Reverend Chapin published her third book. It was a sequel to Divine Union, the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, called Sacred Wisdom, Teachings of Sarah, Goddess of Peace, in June 2022. So it just came out. Lee has also produced a number of CDs. Her work can be purchased through her website, leechapin.com, and on Amazon. And Lee Chapin is LeaChapin.com. Welcome, Lee.
Welcome. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, we finally connected. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. This is going to be a great interview.
Yes, I know it is. I've been looking forward to this. I heard about you years ago from a mutual friend, Pam Woznicki, who goes by Pam Silver Eagle, and we see her photographs. She actually posts them in our Facebook group here in Living in Heart Center Gratitude. And I also noticed, because I have two of your books, Reverend Lee, that her photographs are in this your most recent book, Sacred Wisdom. So I want to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind, to start us off.
Yes, just shoot away.
Okay. Unless there's something you want to jump out in with, something that you want to share. Okay. I want to know about your channeling the Ascended Masters and teachers and the angelic realm. Could you share with us how that all began, what it's like, and just give us all the details, please. And I'm going to put it on speaker view and turn my microphone off as well.
Well, all began in March 21st, 1993. I was receiving a Reiki session and I began to spontaneously channel my first guide named Grand. And I had been told 7 years prior by a psychic, I'd gotten a reading that I had the ability to channel spirit. Because I was new to metaphysics, I was, in my early 30s, I guess, I can't remember, something like that, 28, 30. I tried to practice automatic handwriting and put that focus a bit. And then my life changed. And 7 years later, I hadn't thought about channeling. I was on another path. I had changed from my psychotherapy practice into massage therapy practice, doing healing work, energy healing work, and wasn't thinking about channeling. And then that day when I was receiving a Reiki session, this guide Grand, who this lady had told me 7 years prior, began to speak through my voice. And that's how it all began. And so that was almost 30 years ago. March will be 30 years that I've been working with the Ascended Masters and the angels and the galactic beings. And so I've combined my psychotherapy training with my ability to hear spirit to help people with their life issues. So people call me as a spiritual counselor with their concerns and their challenges. And so I often work with past lives and helping people understand how past lives affect their current life issues. And so that's just about as simple as I can explain it.
Reverend Lee, what are the differences in the different people that you channel? How do you know the difference? How can you tell who they are as you channel them? Because you channel, some amazing, amazing entities and spirits and people who have walked this earth before. So can you give us more about that?
Well, I'm a versatile channel. So I don't just channel one being. I started out with Grand for 4 years. And then I began to work with the archangels. And then the Holy Family came. Jesus, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene came. And then throughout the 30 years, I channel any being of light who is of the light. Our galactic brothers and sisters, the Pleiadians, the Syrians, Isis, Saint Germain, Saint Michael. I also am able to contact loved ones from the other side. So it's somewhat unusual that I'm able to do that, but I'm able to tap into their vibration. They say who they are, they identify themselves. And so at that point, then as I become familiar with them, I feel their vibration. So I know their frequency, just like I'm able to physically see you in this moment. And if you happen to call me on the telephone, I would recognize your voice. It'd be the same way that when spirit comes to me, I recognize their voice. I recognize their frequency. I don't necessarily see them, but I hear them. I'm clairaudient primarily, which means I'm able to hear spirit. I'm also clairvoyant, which I can see, clairsentient, claircognizant. But my primary gift is clairaudient. So I'm able to hear them and sense and feel their vibration. So I know when Archangel Michael's coming because I feel his vibration. Just like, I see you now or I hear you now. It's the same, even though they may be non-physical beings, I'm still recognize their energy frequency. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. And when you're channeling, like when you're writing the books and you're channeling their messages, you say you are clairaudient, which means you can hear their voice. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's just a streaming. This reminds me so much of Neil Donald Walsh's Conversations with God, where it's almost like a live streaming, I call it.
Yes,
Of
it is.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So this one of the books that I have is the 12 Mastery Teachings of Christ. I love this book.
Oh,
I
thank
started
you.
reading it. I haven't finished it yet, but I love it. And the Mastery Teachings, and there's 12 of them that you identify. I'm going to read those real quick. This love, power, truth, oneness, enlightenment, forgiveness, hope, faith, rejuvenation, remembrance, peace, joy. Please tell us about that and tell us you feel their vibration and hear the voice. So tell us all the details about Jesus, please.
All the juicy detail. All right.
Yeah.
Well, in 1997, as I said, the Holy Family began to come to me. And I didn't understand why, because at that time, I've never been religious, but I've been a metaphysical student. And so I always believed in God, but I wasn't raised in any church. And so I had gone to many churches when I was young, trying to make sense of what felt right to me. And then when I met my spiritual mentor back in 1984, she introduced me to metaphysics, and that really made sense to me. So in 1997, when the Holy Family came, Christ began to identify that I was a part of that lifetime, that I'd lived in that lifetime with them, to my surprise, because I didn't understand why they were coming to me, because I thought, I'm not Catholic, you don't have to be Catholic. They were Jewish, but it's like, you identify Mother Mary with Catholicism. So I'm thinking, I'm not Catholic, I'm not religious. Why are they coming to me? I was really confused. I was a young metaphysical student. I just started channeling, so I didn't really understand these things that well. And so they come to identify that I'd lived in the lifetime of Christ over 2,000 years ago, that I was Jesus' cousin named Elizabeth, that I was raised by Mother Mary because my own mother had died, her sister, and that I became best friends with Mary Magdalene. So it really made sense that that I had, quote, been chosen as an oracle to bring their messages forward. So in 2003, I'd been channeling them since 97. And then 2003, Christ instructed me that he wanted to bring the true essence of his teachings through the book, The 12 Master Teachings of Christ. And these are the vibrations or the frequencies, the principles in which he taught. So in many ways, it's like the Course of Miracles. But most recently, he told me the 12 Master Teachings is the new step program, the new 12-step program for AA, which I thought was fascinating because I learned so much through the course of time. But these teachings are to help us to begin to embody his frequencies and to allow us to begin in the ascension process. So first we start with love, because that's the energy in which the God essence created us in. That is our signature vibration. And that frequency or that vibration that Christ has brought through is helping us to unconditionally love ourselves. And then we can move into what we call our divine power as we begin to really honor and love ourselves, and then begin to share our truth as we know it through, our own soul, and then begin to connect to the energy of oneness, to the energy of all that is. And then we bring forth enlightenment so that we begin to expand our consciousness so that we can truly begin to understand these principles of enlightenment and really move past our limiting beliefs and things that we've been taught through perhaps our family, through society, through religion. And then again, forgiveness, for that is the key. That was the hardest lesson of writing this book, that we begin to forgive ourselves, we begin to forgive all those who trespass against us, and that we simply begin to forgive the energy of what we understand in this world as separation or fear. And then we move into the energy of hope and faith. And as he always says, without hope, there's no faith. Without faith, there is no hope. So that's the energy that God gave to us here on this earth plane, so we can continue on, because our earth life is quite difficult. And so we are brought forth the vibration and the energy of hope and faith to carry on. And then the energy of rejuvenation, to begin to rejuvenate our hearts so that we can truly begin to love, forgive, move into oneness, and then remember who we truly are as a presence of the God essence. And then to be able to find peace, which is really what Sarah's work is about. And then joy, he says, is the totality of all that is. That is the vibration of the God essence. That is the true energy as we move into ascension, that we move into the state of exalted joy. So these were the essence of his teaching. So it's a small manual, but it's extremely powerful. And it's to be used like a what I call like the daily guidepost, where you might read a chapter every day. If you have a need to have peace, that you read the peace chapter. It's not a book that you read once and then you set aside. It really is a teaching manual and a healing manual.
I really love it. And I love that it ends with joy. So that's so powerful.
I know. Isn't that lovely? Yes.
Yes. And can you tell us a little about your second book, Divine Union, the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene?
If I'm talking too fast, please forgive me. I get excited and I talk too fast. Divine Union. That book it's an interesting story. That came about through the course of time, but I published it in 2017. I had been doing sacred site journeys out to Mount Shasta, California, and through the Bahamas, working with the energy of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine, awakening the energy of the divine masculine, divine feminine, and both of those, what I call those ancient civilizations, of working with the Atlantean and Lemurian energy. But the Divine Union completed itself when I was in Mount Shasta, California, in the fall of 2016. I was privileged to go to the etheric Lemurian healing temple in Mount Shasta, California, and do an activation of activating the sacred feminine and sacred masculine energy there outside of Mount Shasta, California. The Lemurians had a temple where they married people, but there's actually an etheric temple there that you are able to tap into. And so I was privileged to be able to find that location and go there. So after I did that activation, my work with the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene came forth. I went back out to Mount Shasta in March of 2017 and completed it there, because this book was needed to be completed there, as it was a portal for balance and wholeness, and being in the vibration of the energy of the Lemurians that hold the balance, again, for our current civilization to return to a state of balance and harmony, just like the Lemurians once lived. So this story probably took me 3 or 4 years to really complete. I had some difficulty with it because it is controversial. So I had to reconcile the fact that I was bringing this book that perhaps could be controversial to people who didn't understand that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married, that Jesus did not die on the cross, that he lived on, that he married Mary, they had a family. So that perhaps may be foreign to many people, but since I published that book, I've had a tremendous response from people around the globe who really identify with the story, that connect to it, to feel the truth of it, which led to the Sarah book, which we'll talk here momentarily. But the Divine Union book is not only their story of their love story, but it really is a portal to help us to merge into divine union. Many people are always looking outside of themselves to, quote, find their twin flame or their partner, or to find their soulmate. And really the story, the essence of this book is helping us to come into union with what we call our I am presence, to balance the energy of sacred masculine feminine in our spirit, come into union and balance with ourselves. When we're able to do that, then we're able to find, a rightful partner and move forward into our life. But most people don't fully understand that. They're always searching outside of themselves. So this is about coming within, finding the God within, and being able to embody the energy of that union within ourselves, so that we can find, again, that joy that the Christ Master teachings is offering to us.
I'm glad that people have been so receptive to the idea of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I feel it makes more sense than than anything else, and I feel that Mary Magdalene was probably his significant disciple of those. Is there any kind of something that you can share with us about that? Mary Magdalene was a healer and had great wisdom herself. Is that correct?
She did. She was misportrayed in the Bible as a prostitute. What I've been told, and I've been working with this energy for a long time, you can take it as you will, that Mary Magdalene was a high priestess, and she was an initiate of Priestess Isis from Egypt. And so she has her own power as a sacred goddess energy, the divine Shekinah, the divine goddess energy. So she's an equal to Jesus, but they did not acknowledge that, or at least the Jewish community, not the Essene community, but she wasn't recognized for her power. And so she had to, in some ways, diminish her role and her power, because it was Jesus's time. He was the teacher of righteousness. He came as the Messiah, and yet she was a full equal with him. She's the divine complement. She is his twin flame. So they are that partnering. They came together in a sacred contract, which is what this Divine Union book is about. They came in a sacred contract to hold the template for all of us to return to balance. So that's their role equally.
I feel that is true. I feel that is true, and have for a long time. So I'll have to get your third book too. But talking about your third book, which is Sacred Wisdom,
I was going to say, I really love my Divine Union book. I mean,
Do
even
you?
though, yes,
Okay.
and I'm really, I can be very critical, but I really love my story.
Well, it sounds like something that I would enjoy as well, and really
It's an easy
resonate
read.
with.
It's an
Yeah.
extremely easy read. And each chapter, Mary Magdalene speaks and she shares her side of the story. Then the next part of it, Jesus shares his side of the story. So we go back and forth, and they share their stories from the course of the time when they were young until after his crucifixion. So it's really, it's unique in the sense that it is the direct transmission of each of them telling their side of the story.
Mm-hmm. I think that sounds fascinating. I'll have to get that book too.
I think you'll like it.
So the third book that you have written now is Sacred Wisdom. And why do you think that uh, this time, this period that we're in now, that this book, because it just came out a couple months ago.
Yeah, it
So
came out.
why do you think the time is calling for this book, and what is it about, please?
Um, as I always pause. Again, this book was difficult for me to write. I started channeling it in December of 2017 and completed channeling it in April of 2018 and did not work on it again until this winter, the fall of 2021. I thought I wasn't going to do it, kind of like I did with Divine Union. It was not time. I tend to get information ahead of time before people are ready to receive the information. But to make a long story short, this is the sequel, Divine Union. Jesus and Mary Magdalene are held the template for divine union of the divine balance of the male female energy, so that our civilization, that humanity can be in balance. Because it's extremely important in the ascension process that we're able to be balanced so that we can move through and activate our own vibrational frequency into the energy of the God essence. So if we're in this state of disturbance or chaos, we're not really able to embrace the energy of God's principles or God's light, God's healing energy. And so as we are moving into what we call these troubled times, so we've had COVID, we've had this fear and separation that is very pervasive at this time. So there's a lot happening in the world. And so it's important at this time that Sarah has brought her work, because this is a time for us to begin to embody the vibration of peace in order to move forward into the ascension process. We are in many may think this is the tribulation, or we're in rapture, as they say in the Bible, but this really is the ascension time. This is a part of us spiritually growing. So energetically, we're in a cycle for this planet where the planet is moving into another dimension, into what we call the fifth dimensional frequency. Humanity is to catch up consciously and move forward dimensionally into the fifth dimension with the planet, so that the planet can then be able to be at a state of peace and chaos. Throughout time, the civilization of our current civilization at this time has got out of balance. So the book of Divine Union, the template, the energy has been imprinted by Mary and Jesus, and yet Sarah now is their first child. She's their firstborn. She holds and embodies their divine union. She holds that template. So she's come to help us. She's the voice now. She's the voice to help us energetically and vibrationally to move into a state of peace, move out of these lower vibrational frequencies of fear, separation, chaos, and move into a state of peace and harmony and balance. This is how we're ascending. So this is why it's important now, and why the book, I think, was delayed, because that there was a lot happening in our current civilization, and people were not ready to hear it. People, I think, are afraid. People don't really know how to process what's happening in the world. And so this book also is a portal. And the activations that are in the book through the sacred photography through Pam, these are what we call the new Grail codes. Sarah is actually the missing Holy Grail. So when people think of what happened to the Grail cup, that is symbolic. Sarah is the missing Grail. That's what people have been searching for. They've been searching for Sarah. They've been searching the essence of Sarah, meaning that Sarah holds the balance. People have been searching for this balance within their life. This is what has been elusive. So everything is like a metaphor. So she represents the energy of the missing Holy Grail. The Holy Grail simply is for us to remember that we are true spiritual, physical beings of light, and that it is our birthright to live in peace and joy and harmony and in union with our I Am presence. So this book is also a teaching manual, but it's also a portal. I've had people tell me by holding it or looking at the pictures, by having it in their presence, they're able to feel a shift in their vibration and to feel peaceful.
Thank you, Reverend Lee. I haven't begun this book yet, but but I have it. It's on my to-do list. I have a stack of those. But and there is no coincidence that this interview is taking place the week before all of the peace events that begin this weekend and carry through all next week. International Day of Peace. Um, a friend of mine, Manal Fakuri, is having an all-day Women's Peace Summit on Thursday, the September 22nd. Peace Week has been going on. There's a 99 Days of Peace that's been going on for months now, and it will culminate not this weekend, but the following weekend. There's big stuff around peace, and it's really happening. So there's no accident. Your book came out just at the right time. So
It
I'm
was
excited.
difficult. It was a birthing process. I really thought I probably wasn't going to get this book done. In all honesty, I thought it wasn't very good. And so I really, really struggled with it. But this winter, which was interesting, I moved into a new location. I invoked peace in my home. I actually did an activation last fall at this time in Asheville, North Carolina. And I worked with the crystalline kingdom that's underneath the mountains in Asheville, North Carolina, and invokes the energy of peace through the ley lines and the grid lines. I brought that into my home, and I was able to complete this book in my home. And when people come into my home, they actually feel this sense of peace within my home. So everything is in alignment to vibrationally being able to bring literally the energy and the frequency of peace upon our planet. And it's palpable.
It is. It is palpable. Yes, and it's happening. It's happening.
Yes, and that's what I want people to know, because people have gone through this period of fear and separation and understand this is really about getting out of what we call the consciousness of the mainstream and being able to really listen in, like with your heart center, to really listen to your soul and to your heart and begin to make that decision that you're going to choose peace.
Yes,
And turn
it
off
is.
whatever it is that doesn't bring you peace, that doesn't vibrate with you. And again, this is why this book is important now, because we're in a really critical time, because the ascension process, we are in need of as many light workers, as many beings of light to merge into this next frequency so our planet can ascend, because there really is a new earth frequency. That's what these light codes about. These are the new earth energies that Sarah and many of the other beings of light are bringing to help our planet to continue to heal and to bring peace to our planet.
Yes, I totally believe that as well. So, and there's so many different pathways of that happening too, and so many different beings of light that are helping with us from behind the veil. So, let me ask you about your spiritual counseling practice and how you help others through that. So, can you share with us a little bit about your practice?
Well, as I said, I combine my psychotherapy skills, education, and training with my ability to hear spirit. So as a clairaudient, I'm able to telepathically hear the words of spirit. I work with Archangel Michael quite often, and he comes. And when people call me for a session, they have life challenges or issues that they're dealing with, health issues. I don't necessarily call myself a medical medium, but I'm able to do that. I am also a psychic medium. I'm able to tap into those who've crossed over, but primarily I consider myself a spiritual counselor. And so I'm able to hear spirit, and then spirit comes in and begins to directly answer each of your questions or concerns one by one, helping you to understand what we call the higher spiritual perspective of your concern. Oftentimes we'll go into past lives and we'll do clearings and healings. I don't do age regression as a hypnotherapist, but I'm able to tap into the Akashic records. And then Archangel Michael or whomever I'm working with will begin to clear those imprints and those patterns from the Akashic records, so that you're no longer holding those fears or those phobias or those imprints or those memories within your consciousness and within your physicality. So it simply is a counseling session, really. I'm not here to predict the future. But I'm here to help you to emotionally and mentally clear any blockages that you're having that are prohibiting you from moving forward into your soul journey.
Excellent. And I know that you also offer many classes and workshops, and they probably are they listed on your website, leechapin.com?
Yeah,
But can
several
you
of them.
tell us, yeah, tell
Sev-
us which ones you offer. Okay.
Well, I offer intuitive development classes to help people, not only for beginners, but for those who have been studying and want to enhance their abilities. I do that. I work with the Sacred Flames book. It's called The Seven Sacred Flames by Aurelia Louise Jones, who work with the Lemurians. And I help people understand about the seven flames and how they're part of our ascension process. I teach an Akashic Records class. I've done so many things. I bring, what else do I do? I get lost in everything that I do. I teach my Christ Mastery teachings. Every Monday morning, I bring Mary Magdalene and Jesus Message in on a Monday morning call. I've been doing that at least for 15 years. And then I put that onto my YouTube channel. But I will be teaching Sarah's teachings. That's what I plan to do. My hope is to get back to Florida this winter and begin to promote the book, and also be able to share Sarah's wisdom teachings and help people to clear away those fears and separations and anxieties that they've been experiencing during these last several years, to be at peace. So I know that that's the real focus. So you can go onto my website. I do lots of things. Right now I'm just having a blur, but because I do so much that I can't even remember everything I've done over the course of 30 years. But it's fun. I create a lot. I get a hit on what Spirit wants me to do, and then I tailor the class as they guide me to tailor it, to teach it.
And these classes and workshops, are they in person or online, or how do you offer them?
I do them in person when I'm in the location to do that. I've been really fortunate that I've had many people host me, and I've gone to different states besides Florida and Illinois, where I buy, it was a snowbird. But I have people have hosted me that invited me to New Jersey and to New York and to Arizona. And so I've gone and taught classes there. I go up to Chicago a lot and teach there. But a lot of my classes now I do through a teleconference class. And so I do have a small group of followers that work with me. But if you want to join any of my classes, if you'd like to be on my email list, you can certainly join the classes that I'm teaching. I'm not the best with the computer at this point in history, because somehow that technology doesn't I don't know, somehow it irritates me. I just rather just do things really simple. I love to teach in person. So that's my favorite way of teaching people. I love people. I love interacting with people. I love having that live interaction. So sometimes doing things on computer just seems impersonal to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're coming back to Florida. We're in Florida.
Oh, the St. Pete, Sarasota area.
Oh, okay. St. Pete and Sarasota. All right.
Uh-huh.
Well, we have some members that are in that area. So in our Facebook group, Living in Heart Center Gratitude. So Reverend Lee, it's been a pleasure talking with you and finding out more about you. I know that there's so much more we could learn from you. And anyway, I encourage our members to go to your website, leechapin.com, and explore all the different facets of ways that they might want to connect with you on a private level. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I know that we tried to make connection here a year and a half ago or so. So I'm really delighted, and I'm going to say thank you to Pam Silver Eagle for making that connection. You're really lovely. So I'd love to come to Ocala and teach. That'd be great. I'm open to that.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll explore that. And I will send you that email that I mentioned before we began the program too. So
yes,
yeah.
Thank you. I'm anxious to see that. So thank you. And you look so pretty in your setting there. How peaceful. What a blessing you have there.
Yes, we feel blessed every day. Just all we have to do is look out the windows.
I know.
Awesome.
It's so beautiful. It's so pretty.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Lee. It's been a delight, and we are so glad you are a member of our group. So thank you so much for being here tonight. And thank you to our members who joined us live or join us later to listen to this broadcast. We appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you again, and good night.
Thank you. Have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Mhm.